All right, let's talk about verifying that the agent data groups on the CIF match WFM for supervisors, sites, work status, and then SSO or platform authentication. So in the CIF, under the environment specifications tab, there is a section for agent data groups right here, agent data groups. So customers will need to provide 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 different agent data groups that are needed for the integration between NiCE WFM and EEM. In many cases, these agent data groups already exist in their environment, so it's just a matter of them providing the names of those agent data groups right here in these fields. In some other cases, these are agent data groups they need to create. So we have a supervisor agent data group. So that's what's going to help us create the agent supervisor hierarchy in EEM. So there are different reports and different filters and different accesses that depend on this agent supervisor hierarchy. There's also a site agent data group. So agents are grouped by physical location or by site in EEM in order to configure, set up certain parameters around, for example, shift or scheduled trades, and also around self-service and some other work rules. So there needs to be an agent data group in NiCE WFM for this grouping. And then we have username. So username is the agent data group that we're going to be using when we enable platform authentication or SSO and our SSO in EEM. So we need to import the external ID into EEM. So that needs to come from an agent data group. And then we have work status. So work status is, if I hover the mouse over here, so it's an agent data group that must have 2 unique values only. They could be part-time and full-time. So this will allow EEM to identify part-timers and full-timers for, this is for extra hours and time off parameters. So that's the agent data group. In many cases, customers don't have that, so they have to create it. And then login is, it's only applicable when we're doing ACD integrations, when we integrate EEM directly with their ACD for real-time rules alerting. But I think we've only done a few. Typically, we don't do login. So in most cases, it's going to be supervisor, site, username, and work status. So the idea is that you want to make sure the name that has been provided here matches NiCE WFM. So the way you can confirm that is, of course, by getting access to customers RCP. So once in the RCP, you can go to administrator and then agent data groups. This is the first step. Again, making sure the name that's provided in the CIF matches the name in NiCE WFM. So let's say that for the supervisor agent data group, customer provided here supervisor. That happens to be the name as well. It's the name of the agent data group. So I go to NiCE WFM here to agent data groups, and so there should be an agent data group called supervisor. So it's there. So that's my first step. So it's good to go. And then maybe for site, the agent data group is also named site. So I would simply come here to the agent data groups section, and then I would make sure there is a site agent data group. So the name's a match. And then we have the other, which is username. So typically username, it's called external ID. So then back in NiCE WFM, there should be an external ID, agent data group. And by the way, external ID is a value that's under the agent definition. If we look at agent definition here, then we all know that external ID is one of the fields in the agent definition. However, EEM, for EEM, we cannot pull from this external ID directly. Reason why, what needs to happen is that customers need to create an external ID or an agent. It could be any name, but it's an agent data group with unique values, and those values are going to be the agent's external IDs. That way we can import this information over to EEM. And then, as I mentioned, and then work status. So let's pretend that the name of that agent data group is also work status. So you want to make sure here in agent data groups it exists. So here it is, work status. And then again, if we're integrating with an ACD, then there should be a login ID agent data group with the ACD, and the values of the agent data group are going to be the ACD login ID. So those are unique values. So that's the first step, making sure the names match. But then you also want to take some time to make sure these agent data groups are defined as preferred agent data groups for each one of the MUs that are part of the EEM project. So you can check that under the administrator management units. So when you go there, pull each one of the MUs, that's important, each one of the MUs that is part of the EEM project scope. So you would go to the agent data tab, and once there, so you want to make sure those agent data groups we just mentioned, right, we're talking about, then they are defined as preferred groups. In this example, we have supervisor, so good, external ID, login ID, site, and work status. Those are our agent data groups. They are defined as preferred agent data groups. So then we're good to go. So that's the second item you want to check. And then I would say there is a third situation we want to confirm in NiCE WFM from the administrator using agent data values. So you want to make sure for these agent data groups, you want to make sure agents are assigned values, right? So you would pull by MU, each one of the MUs that is part of the scope of the project. So let's say you would start with supervisor. By the way, there's also here in this agent data value screen, There's also here an indication that these agent data groups have been defined as preferred because the name of the agent data groups is those names are listed at the top of the screen here in the selector and like in blue letters, right? So that means they are preferred agent data groups. So you don't even have to really go to management units to do that. You can figure it out just by looking at this here from the selector. And so the third thing you want to make sure, you want to confirm, you want to check is that values, right, are assigned to all the agents within that agent data group. This is important because, for example, in the case of supervisors, so an agent has to be associated to a supervisor in EEM. That's a requirement. So then we want to make sure there are no blanks here for this agent data group. And then you'll want to check the external ID, making sure there are unique values assigned to each agent. This is the external ID, basically the same external ID that's most likely available from the agent definition external ID field. Then login ID, again, if there's an integration with an ACDs, so then you would make sure that unique values are assigned to the agents. For site, this is super important. Agents need to be associated to a physical location in EEM, again, as I said before, to set up certain work rules parameters around scheduling. And so you want to make sure there are no blanks here. And then work status. Again, EEM is going to be using this for a couple of extra hours time off parameters. So then you want to check that all agents are assigned either full-time or part-time. So I think that's it. One final thing I wanted to mention is if you take a look at extranice.com and then go to product documentation, NiCE WFM, one of the versions, and then within this go to the tools section. One of the tools is called Diagnostic Tools WFM 7.2 EEM Agent Validation README. So take a look at that document and see how this tool works. But one of the things that this script does is, if we scroll down here, is it's going to tell you the agents that do not have an agent data value defined for the supervisor agent data group. So it's kind of what I said here for supervisors. So if there are blanks here under the value column, then this tool is going to show you that. And also the agents that do not have an agent data value for site. So if there are blanks, then this tool will show you that. And then on top of that, it'll show the agents that do not have at least one skill defined in NiCE WFM. So please take some time to take a look at that tool. The documentation's available at extranice.com.